The government rolled out a red carpet for everything we were doing. The perpetrators would take me to the places they killed, show me how they killed. I suppose I felt, oh no, I have no choice. I won't be able to turn away from this. Here was something so important that no one was looking at. There was like a total moral vacuum, an upside-down moral universe. I'm Joshua Oppenheimer. I'm an American filmmaker, but I live in Copenhagen, Denmark. I went to university to study theoretical physics and cosmology because I was interested in the nature of existence, why we're here, why we're conscious. I was interested in the fact that in quantum mechanics, when we observe something, we change it. Consciousness is embedded in the fabric of reality, kind of a priori, from the beginning. That's amazing. I realized that if I were to become a nonfiction filmmaker, I would be able to make a life practice out of exploring the mystery of what it means to be human, what it means to exist, what it means to be together as human beings, and what it means to be conscious. I've made two films, The Act of Killing and The Look of Silence, and together they're really one work, and they deal with the aftermath or the ongoing terrible effects of a genocide that took place in Indonesia in 1965, and the perpetrators have been in power ever since. I was asked in 2001 to teach a community of plantation workers in Indonesia how to make their own documentary about their struggle to organize a union. I knew nothing about Indonesia, and the women were dying of liver disease in their 40s.
Bagaimana kalau kita ngusulkan minta baju karet plastik itu ya, biar nggak kena racun.
And the company's response was to hire a paramilitary group to threaten and attack the workers. And the workers immediately dropped their demand, saying to me, look, our parents and grandparents were killed as part of a mass killing here in 1965, and we're afraid that this could happen to us again. Why don't you try to film the perpetrators? Which astonished me, because I thought the perpetrators won't speak, and it would be dangerous to approach them. But they convinced me to try. I overcame my fear. I approached them and found that they were immediately open and boastful. I had this feeling that really crystallized when I filmed two perpetrators taking me down to a spot on a river where they'd helped kill 10,500 people at that one spot.
Tahanan di sini bisa melihat darahnya.
I thought, my God, it's like I've wandered into Germany 40 years after the Holocaust, only to find the Nazis still in power. That evening, I went home and realized that I would basically stop everything I was doing and spend as many years as it would take to address this kind of impunity. I couldn't think of anything more important that I could possibly do. I feel like filmmakers often like to talk about how they were sort of born to be filmmakers. I hated the cinema as a child. I was the youngest, and my family would take me to the movies and watch films that were either totally inappropriate for a child my age, terrifying, or too complicated for me to understand. So I developed this inferiority complex about my ability to understand a story, let alone tell a story. I got a grant in the middle of college to take a year out and work on a street theater project in a red light district in Calcutta, working with people who were sold as children into sex slavery, basically. The things that we encountered were just horrific, unbearable, and that was the moment I decided to be a filmmaker. I came from Copenhagen to San Francisco on Tuesday. Wednesday, I had a master class and screening at CCA, California College of the Arts. And then Thursday, I went to Stanford. No, am I getting this wrong? Is this possible? It seems like there's not enough days in the week. We're going to the International Documentary Association, where I'm giving a master class. Tomorrow, I go to Chicago and then have two in Chicago on Monday.
Thank you all for being here and welcome. And I want to thank Joshua Oppenheimer for being with us today.
There are areas of the world, areas of human experience that I feel are so profoundly out of joint that we must go there and tell the truth. I think of myself less as a storyteller and more as an explorer. And I see myself as taking these long, intimate, transformative journeys with people within the overall safe space of making a film, and then creating occasions together, collaboratively with them, in which things happen. And by that I mean, I think we create new forms of reality. I don't mean we're staging things. I mean we're creating realities that didn't exist before, that could never exist were it not for the film. My films are about the legacy of the past in the present, the shadow cast by genocide that no one's allowed to talk about. When I started working with the survivors, the army threatened them into silence. But once I started working with the perpetrators, they were immediately giving this kind of manic, loud, boastful demonstrations of how they killed. It was profoundly upsetting. I wasn't getting the sober testimony you expect. I was getting this kind of energetic performance. And I started to wonder, well, performance is always intended for an audience. Who is their imagined audience? How do they want to be seen by me, by my audience, by their grandchildren, by their neighbors? How do they want to see themselves? And how do they really see themselves? And I realized if I let them dramatize what they've done in whatever ways they wish, I could make this visible.
Beginilah caranya supaya jangan darah itu keluar banyak, tahu kan? Kita lihat elitnya, ya kan? Kalau untuk
I meet Anwar, a death squad member, and there was nothing unique about his bravado and his swagger and his boasting. But what was unique about Anwar was his inability to suppress his pain.
Saya sadari bahwa saya mimpi jelek saya itu datangnya semata-mata dari pekerjaan saya yang mengerjakan orang yang tidak menginginkan dia mati.
And I had this next kind of revelatory moment where I felt, what if boasting and trauma are two sides of the same coin? What if boasting for Anwar and these perpetrators is what boasting is for each and every one of us? You don't feel proud, you feel small. I think when we boast, we become like birds who puff out our feathers to look bigger because we know we're small.
Sepertinya menghabisin dengan gembira begitu.
I was noticing that if you invite people to perform, where the mask goes on and where it comes off, and often while performing there were moments, because these are not professional actors who've memorized a script, there were these cracks or gaps, these moments of stumble and stutter, where you would feel the person behind the mask struggling to figure out what to do next. And these were moments of profound authenticity, I felt. In those moments, I think unusual new forms of reality start to emerge.
So, nggak bisa diulangi. Nggak bisa dua kali.
The two films took a decade to make. It was emotionally terrifying. Having a sense of home was very important for me. My husband, she was Japanese, and I couldn't bring him to America because of the Defense of Marriage Act, and he couldn't bring me to Japan, so we kind of clung to England, and we both eventually became British citizens. Then we moved to Copenhagen, in fact, because it was a kind of more nurturing, quiet, peaceful place to be returning to from this kind of work. One thing that's happened, which I think I didn't expect, was that the films would become this kind of touchstone for discussion inside and outside of Indonesia. So The Look of Silence and The Act of Killing have kind of helped catalyze this fundamental transformation in how the whole country talks about its past. I think what the two films have done together is to kind of reveal to Indonesians the extent to which they had been intimidated into silence and intimidated into lying to themselves. They are not my films. I made them in collaboration with 60 anonymous Indonesians who gave a decade of their lives to make these films with me because they felt it was that important. And that's been key to my decision to spend my youth doing this. October 1st, it was the 50th anniversary of the start of the genocide. And I was inundated with interview requests from around the world because the media was paying attention to this.
want to be involved somehow. I've never...
All over the world, people were aware of it. And that was very moving. And I'm very honored and grateful to have been able to play whatever part I've played.
Thank you. It means a lot to me. Thank you.
I never expected this. I didn't set out to make this. I'm now starting a new project. I'm not thinking it's going to do anything like this. It's utterly different. I think of it as a musical dealing with beauty and fragility. But it develops methods that I think I've only explored the tip of the iceberg with in The Act of Killing. This process of what happens when you think of documentary or nonfiction filmmaking. It's just people playing themselves. We're confronting, what are we? Why are we here? Why are we doing this? It's mystery.